start by focusing on the first 2 points in our problem breakdown. So we need to figure out how to tell the Arduino that we want pin 13 to be a digital output. We can do this by using the function pin mode. Let's go through the documentation for pin mode to learn how to use it. I've taken some of the most important information about pin mode and put it on this slide for the convenience of this course. If you want to learn more about this function or any of the functions we talk about that are part of the Arduino platform, you can always go to the Arduino website and look up their reference documentation. So to start with, let's go to the description. So pin mode configures the specified pin to behave either as an input or an output. If we go to the syntax, which is just a programming term for grammar in code. So we have pin mode, and pin mode takes 2 parameters. The first parameter is pin, the second parameter is mode, and pin is the Arduino pin number to set the mode of. And then mode can be one of 3 keywords. It can be input, output, or input pull-up. If we go over to the example to help us out in figuring out how to use this in our code, we see that we have, just like the syntax says, we have pin mode, and then our first parameter is pin, which is 13, and then the second parameter is set to output. And we see in the comments that it says sets the digital pin 13 as an output. So let's use this example from our documentation to help us write our own code. So up at the top here, within void setup, so we've got pin mode, and then our first parameter is our pin number, and that's pin 13, because that's the pin that the LED is connected on. And we want this to be a digital output. So all we got to do is just write output, and Arduino will recognize that key term. Now, instead of just leaving this 13 here, I am going to instead turn that into a constant, and that way it's more human readable and we don't have to keep on remembering that the pin that we're using is pin 13. So let me show you how to do that. Up at the top here, before void setup, I'm going to use the keyword const, which means constant, and then int, or int, which means integer. And an integer is similar to a whole number where you can have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. But you can also have 0 and negative numbers such as -1, -2, -3. So an integer is just not a decimal number. And I'm using an integer for my constant because 13 is an integer. So for this constant integer, I'm going to call it LED pin. And that's because it is our pin that is connected to our LED. And I'm going to assign it to pin 13. So we just write 13 there. And so now what I can do is I can just take this integer and place it here. And it means the same thing. This still evaluates to 13, but this is a little easier to read, right? We don't have to keep on remembering that 13 means pin 13 and pin 13 is connected to LED pin. We just need to read LED pin right here.